Thank you, Sabah, for giving me the opportunity. The economic language is complex and dry, so I will try to formulate my perception about the reconstruction in Yemen in a simple way, and I hope that it will be good enough in the 10 minutes that I have. I would like to say to get development, we don't need money, but we need good reputation. Good reputation of any country comes within the framework of political stability, monetary stability, and it requires a firm policy and a strong internal decision that is not influenced by foreign influences. In addition to have good reconstruction, we need to be free of the influence of foreign influence. I think this has been discussed today already, and it is very important to reiterate that our relations with the neighboring region or countries is going in the opposite direction. Our state is within the Gulf states, and we are considered as a market for Saudi Arabia, not as a consumer market for the Saudi and Emirati products, but we are also a place where we have the industry of manpower that doesn't only give them the labor they need, but we also pay them taxes and revenues. It is an opposite image. Saudi Arabia is using Yemen to settle its accounts with other countries. They launched a war against Yemen, and it holds the government captive in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia impose its own agenda. In this context, I can say that we don't need efforts of reconstruction from Saudi Arabia or UAE. We don't need that money to genuinely reconstruct our country to achieve the development that we need. We don't need the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank. We don't need a conference of a donors conference to give us the money, conditioned money and in phases. We need to have monetary stability and trust to impose our own monetary policies that are agreed upon by the people. We don't need development programs that are subject to the international programs or the UN programs or under the principle of globalization. I mean, we can impose our own needs and implement them on the ground. The Yemenis themselves can propose these policies and implement them on the ground. Not only that, we also need to have monitoring. I mean, societal monitoring on the implementation on the ground. This requires complete transparency, and any citizen has the right to access to information and to hold any official accountable in the country during the reconstruction phase. It is very important within the monitoring period to have a strong journalism. I mean, the officials are bound to provide information to journalism in any topic and to make interviews, because journalism play an important role in monitoring and delivering or communicating information to citizens in these issues. The remaining issue is who is going to pay the bill of reconstruction. We can pay the bill of reconstruction through a number of ideas. The first one is that when we have good reputation, monetary stability, respect for public property, and a good and strong infrastructure and institutional structure, we can draw investments. So only when we have, only if we have a trust in the international market, we can get money. The Arab coalition, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia must pay money for reconstruction, and as well as moral and material compensation for the destruction and for the victims for those who were harmed by and affected by the war. We must not go to beg for money in conferences. We are the owners of the rights, but unfortunately, the principles are reversed in the community that we are, or in the society we're living in. We can impose our own agenda in the regional dynamics to have a pragmatic geopolitical relation with the other countries, and to have a peer relation with the others. When Qatar was under the economic embargo, they started or established relations with Iran, for example. So what we need from the neighboring countries and from the countries of the Arab coalition countries, we can boycott them, we can stop the relations with them. And all the issues, all the things that were made before the war, or any agreements that were signed by the Houthis or during the war, they have no legal status. They don't have any. They are not imposed on the people. They were made for these countries to get certain interests or benefits. We need to be strong enough to impose our own agenda. I can also say that we need to abandon the UN efforts. We don't need them. And as an economist, I could say that any loans or grants, they come with accompanying financial and economic conditions that will make us suffer more and have reverse effects. Because if we get loans, so we are going to pay interest on them, and these loans or grants, whether they're coming from international financial institutions or others, they are invested in places that are not useful or effective for our local economy. Another example, which is the German economic miracle. Why did I use this? Because after World War II, Germany was destroyed, surrounded politically and militarily. It was occupied and divided. Germany was divided, and German territory was taken. Germany didn't receive money from any country, although the Marshall Plan gave several countries in Europe several grants, but it gave Germany only loans that should be paid with interest later. Germany could have or should have paid it was imposed, it was forced to pay the bill of World War II to the forces of the Allies. Despite all of the difficulties the German people was under, through this solidarity of the Germans with a good role of women, where they were able to have a good development in Germany, based on the principles of the respect of individual freedom, societal liberty, and solidarity within society. The German economy was able to build on their self resources. They didn't want to, they managed not to lose their reputation in the market, and Germany wanted to be the motor of the economy in Europe, and they were able to do so. We are not so different from the Germans. We Yemenis can do this and can achieve all of these goals. During this phase of war and in the post-war Yemen, here I can say that the reconstruction plans that are the fake ones that are being marketed here and there under the supervision of Yemen, of Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates and other international institutions, they are not successful ones, and we don't need these loans to be provided to Yemen. Thank you very much.